Welcome back, everybody, to this week's live episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel and also our good friends over at WDW Magazine, DCL Magazine, if we can make it happen.
Yes, make it happen. Make it a thing.
Yes, make it happen. All right, so DCL Magazine, head over to DCL-magazine.com to buy your special issue today. They're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers or 5,000 issues sold so that they can actually offer this on a subscription basis. I think I saw a post today that they're at 2,000 subscribers. So we got a ways to go here. Let's support WDW Magazine, DCL Magazine. They put out a really nice, high quality product, great photos, great articles. I mean, there's an article from us in the issue
from Brian, not from us, from
Brian.
You
keep making this a thing, Sam. It's us. It's the royal. It's the
royal
we.
It's the royal.
It's the we. So anyway, but head over, support our friends over at DCL-magazine.com. And if you head over there right now, you can get 10% off anything in their store using code DCL Duo, all caps DCL Duo. Head over there, DCL-magazine.com. Sam, we got a fun guest tonight. I want to make sure we intro her before I continue down my path of pre-show things. So
yes, we're super excited. We have one of the fabulous travel advisors from My Path Unwinding Travel. People might think I'm introducing Karen Shelton, but I'm not. I'm introducing the other Karen, Karen Luster. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
We're so excited to have you. It is our first time having you on the show, although we've met you before. And so we're super, super excited to hear from you today. We're going to be talking about the Wish in just a little bit. I know you just got off of the Wish. But before we start with our show topic, Brian is going to do a little shout out to our Patreon crew out there. So over to you, Brian.
Yeah, we need to occasionally stop and thank some very important people out in the community who actually pay us to put this show out, and their fabulous support really means the world to us. And I just want to take a minute to kind of go through our list of patrons. It has grown. I did not imagine it would get this big, but I want to send them a shout out. And so let's start. At our Animators Palette tier, we have Steve Elsis, Shanna Barrett, Robert Taylor, Robbie and Jillian Abney, Matthew Kowalski, Lori Hotung, Joshua McHenry, Heather Wilson, The Dillos Diz, Derek Sassman, Dave Hall, Constance Presley, Chris Brown, Bridget Casey, Ashley Norton, and now into our Palo Brunch tier, we have Tracy and Michael Andraco, Larry Fine, Kraus Mouse Adventures, Jeff Linwood, Erica, just Erica. Thank you, Erica. Emily Faye Abbott, Edward Lynn, Drew Curry, and Haley Curry. We cannot miss Haley Curry. Dennis Keithley, Chris Wynn, Beth Gentry, and now we move up to our Palo Dinner tier, getting a little fancier here. But thank you to Sonia Allen, Megan Guys, Karen Tomprose, Karen Shelton, Jennifer Swart, daily MTB writer, or our friend, the DCL Duo villain, or the DCL villain, Josh Wilson, Cindy Leichner, Christopher Vorabek, Chris Braga, Ann Witten, and then we move into the coveted Remy Brunch, Thomas Rogers, Sean Burns, Eric Nyman, Amy Y, and then at the top of the heap, the Remy dinner tier, no holds barred, our friend, Tinfoil Mouse Ears, CT.
Oh, I love CT. He's the best.
If you want an easy way to support this show, please head over to patreon.com/DCL Duo. Check out our various tiers of support. We really, really appreciate the folks who help make this show happen each and every week. And we do offer an annual subscription to get 10% off. So head over there, check it out. We love our Patreon community.
Yeah.
I need to schedule our next quarterly Patreon call for our top tier Patreon.
Our top tier, for our Remy tier Patreons, they get a quarterly call with.
No, it's a little lower than Remy tier.
Oh, okay.
Check out the site. Okay. It has the benefits. So yeah, there you go.
I got to give a special shout out to Karen Shelton. She's the owner of My Path Unwinding Travel, obviously our travel agency sponsor. But she's also a Patreon. And so that's pretty cool that she supports us in both ways. So special shout out to Karen Shelton, who I know is watching because in the comments she has said, Hi, everyone. Hi, Karen. Hi, everyone else. I'm not going to pull up everybody's hellos, but it's good to see everyone out there today. Well, now we've got to talk a little bit of news before we dive into our show topic, but I promise we won't belabor the news because this is actually from a little over a week ago.
Well, Sam, hold on. You forgot the biggest news of all. I mean, Karen's here
Oh,
wearing gold for a reason, and I think we need to acknowledge that reason, which was
fair.
the DCL Duo cracked the top 10 of Apple Podcast charts for all travel podcasts in the United States this week. That is a huge leap for us. We actually hung out at number 8 for a bit, then number 7, and number 9. We were in the top 10 for about 5 days there, and now we've settled into the top 20, which is pretty nice. I'm pretty happy.
Listen, I'm happy if we stay at that 12 spot. That 12 spot was pretty nice. So,
You know what? I'm just happy that anyone out there is listening other than like our friends. So thank you. Thank you for listening. It really, really means the world to us, and just want to thank you for that. So
yeah. If
thank you
anyone
for
besides
actual news.
if anyone besides Tracy Andreco, who was our first fan and our number 1 fan, is listening, then that's it. That's awesome. I love you, Tracy. I'm glad you listened to us too. But anyway, all right. So let's head over to talk about some news. We have the news is only on the adventure, but it came out, I want to say, a week or a week and a day ago. So, and we didn't have a live show. Apologies to our audience. We had to cancel kind of last minute. But we've rescheduled Danny from Adventures by Disney. He's going to come back and he's going to come on in April. So apologies. We had to rejigger that around. But at the adventure, there were 3 pieces of news that came out about the Disney adventure. The first one is, I want to call it a Marvel themed Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique. So it's a Marvel like sort of makeover place on board the ship. The second was a new Jack Sparrow themed pirate show. And then the third, which is of course the most important, you have to save the best for last, is a Duffy and Friends themed show and Duffy and Friends themed store on board the adventure. So what do we think about these announcements, guys? I mean, I don't know, Karen, are you going to trek all the way over to Singapore to go on the adventure is question
Doubtful.
1.
Doubtful.
Yeah, but what do you think about these announcements from DCL about these 3 new things, or really more than 3, but so 3 categories of new things on the Disney adventure?
I just love how they're taking things and twisting them and making them new, things that you're familiar with, but adding a little bit of like I said, a twist. So I definitely think there's an audience for those things, especially over in Asia. So very cool. Like I said, probably never going to see it, but still cool to hear about it.
Totally. I love this comment from CT, so close to his Edna make yourself a hero idea, which is totally true. He had said when we were in one of our prognostication episodes, that would be a great like sort of change to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique to have sort of a hero makeover. And this is that, but obviously that was Incredibles themed. This is Marvel themed, but same idea. And then Bridget is saying, anyone else hoping that Marvel Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo is a possibility for the Destiny? I would say yes, I'm hoping, but my guess is more that maybe they'll just have 1 or 2 Marvel options on in Bibbidi Bobbidi on the Destiny, like they have the Captain Mickey and Minnie on the Wish and the Treasure that I don't think had on the earlier ships. I wonder if they'll sort of add maybe like 1 Marvel, maybe like a Spider-Man, and I don't know what like other one, but maybe they'll have a couple options. So I'm hoping for that. Brian, what do you think about these additions? Any thoughts about new pirate show, or about Duffy and Friends, or the fact that I'm going to have to make you spend lots of money to get me over to Asia so I can see Duffy and Friends?
I've already, look, I think it's hard for me to get excited about any one piece of news coming out of the adventure. What I don't love about doing the adventure is it's just like dribble of news kind of coming out. I want the big, where's the reveal? Like give me the whole thing, because it's hard for me to wrap my head around it at this point of the way they're dribbling the news out. I'm still reeling from we have a placeholder, or not a placeholder. We have a booking on the adventure for the maiden voyage. We're not going to be able to use. PS out there to Kaylee. We're going to be needing to move that. I'm excited to go on her. I'm excited to see what she is. I think she's going to be unlike any of the other ships in the fleet. Great to hear that they're doing this kind of stuff, as others have commented. I really hope they bring some of it back, here into the U.S. because, otherwise I just don't know how many of us are going to get to experience the adventure over there, and I don't think it's designed for us. So yeah, I want to see them like learn from the adventure and bring it back over here. Like,
Yeah.
is that
Or
really
bring
going to
some
be?
of
Is that
some of the experiences onto the other ships,
That's
like
what I
the
mean.
business
That's what
class.
I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, bring those experiences back into the U.S. fleet, because I don't think the Adventure will ever touch U.S. soil after she potentially stops in L.A. and heads for Singapore. But the other thing is, like, I really hope the Adventure doesn't become the only ship in the fleet with a roller coaster on the top deck. There's got to be a way for a theme park company to make that, happen. Maybe on these new ships they're building, although they're going to be smaller. So who knows? Like,
Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah.
All right. Well, setting aside the news for on the Disney Adventure, we got to get back to Florida. We got to get back to Port Canaveral and back on to the Wish. So let's talk about, before we talk about the Wish, we got to talk about Karen's cruising background, Disney background. As I mentioned, Karen is a travel advisor with My Path Unwinding Travel. Karen, why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself, what your sort of Disney background is, and what your cruising background is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a lifelong Walt Disney World visitor. My first visit was in 1982. I've been there close to 30 times at this point, and I absolutely love it. It's near and dear to my heart. At some point, I wanted to be an Imagineer. That sort of went by the wayside when I dropped out of architecture school and became a librarian. That doesn't really work. And so you can see here just some of the pictures from my childhood. My son and my husband at the top there when they had the Pirates League, which was super fun. And then that's my niece when we went to Disneyland this past year. And then that's my partner in crime at the bottom, who goes with me at the drop of a hat whenever we want to. So it's super awesome that I have the family around me and friends that want to support my addiction.
Your Disney habit. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I figure it doesn't hurt anybody but my pocketbook, so it's okay. As far as cruising, my first cruise was in 2002 aboard the Carnival Jubilee. It was really hideous and gross. It was built in 1986, and in 2002, it was pretty old already. I just remember it being very 80s and like mauve, and we were definitely the youngest people on there. Smoky, casino, and my then boyfriend, now husband, got seasick, so he is very reluctant to go on a cruise and hasn't been on one since. Hence, he has not been one of my cruising partners so far. And then jump ahead 20 years, that was my next cruise. So I decided that once I started selling, part of My Path Unwinding, I am much more comfortable if I've experienced something when I sell it. So I can really speak to it and be confident in selling of the product. So I decided I probably should hop on a ship. I wasn't sure I was going to like it as well as the parks, but I will say the second cruise, I pulled up to the port in Miami and was crying. I'm like, darn it, they got me too. Just the cruise line got me too. Now I'm crying when I see the boats. So yeah, my first cruise was in 2022 with my sister, and it was still COVID time. So we had to do the testing before we went on board, which was nerve-wracking. And then I went later that year with my son for Halloween on the High Seas. So we got to dress up and do all that fun stuff. And then pop ahead 3 more years, went on the Wish with my mom this past year.
Love that. Awesome. Now, so you, up until this cruise that we're going to talk about today, you hadn't been on the Wish, or you hadn't been on one of the Wish class ships, I should say.
No, I hadn't. No, I was actually, like I was telling you before the show, this actually was intended to be a cruise on the Treasure. And I booked it a long time ago, but for a number of reasons, we decided to change it to the Wish. Just because my mom's in a scooter, as you'll see later, and she wasn't going to be able to partake in a lot of the excursions. So I wanted to, and also I didn't want to be home, away from home for that long. But we had a blast, so I'm happy with our choice.
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to, I do want to talk about, why someone might choose to sail on the Wish as opposed to on the Treasure, right? Because the Treasure is the new kid in town, right? And we keep talking. I feel like we've talked about obviously the Treasure a lot because we love her so much. But there are reasons why someone would want to sail on the Wish instead of sailing on the Treasure, or of course on one of the other 4 ships in the Disney fleet. They all have something to offer. But I do want to, focus on what are some of the great things about sailing on the the Disney Wish in today's discussion, since you had the opportunity to sail for the first time. So let's start with the planning process. You mentioned you originally booked the Treasure. Tell us about the decision process to switch to the Wish.
It was namely because of my mom being in the scooter. And, she tends to get a little nervous. She's done it at the parks a few times. And she admitted to me that she was a little apprehensive. So I'm glad I broached the subject with her because for me, it was more being away from home for about 8 days and leaving my son and my husband for that long together. Not that they don't get along, they get along great, but it's just one of those things. Just being away from home for that long, you start to miss them.
Yes.
Well,
and they start to miss you and all of the stuff that you do. I mean, I know for Brian and I, if one of us is away for a couple of days, that's one thing. But if the other one of us is away for like an entire week, it's a lot when you're used to having a partner to do, half the school pickups and drop-offs or the schlepping, right? Like,
for sure.
It's just a lot when you're down to, one-on-one parenting instead of two-on-one parenting. And shout out to those people who have multiple kids or who are outnumbered in kids to adults, because I don't know how y'all do it. And to single parents, shout out to you even more, because I don't know how you do it with no time off ever. But yeah, it's definitely a harder thing. Well, let's talk about where you stayed before, because I know you had a nice pre-stay location.
Yeah, we actually stayed at the Grand Floridian, and luckily they assigned us to an accessible room, which I was pleasantly surprised. It worked out really well because of my mom's mobility limitations. And the day before the cruise, we didn't do a park day. We just explored the new Polynesian Tower and just ate at the Waialulu bar and grill there and sampled some of their food, and then went over to the Polynesian and I got my pot stickers, which I love.
Oh,
yes. So that was super exciting. And we basically walked back and forth between the Grand Floridian and then the Poly, and then we walked to Steakhouse 71 for dinner.
Ooh.
So I got my steps in because there wasn't a lot of sitting on the cruise. So it was nice to walk around and get some fresh air. And she had a scooter there, so it was, easy for her. It was more of an effort for me to get around, but it was great. It was a nice, relaxing day, and it was great to try something new.
Awesome. Sorry, friends. We're having, as you noticed, Brian disappeared. He's having a little bit of technical difficulties. He's trying to run the presentation, and for some reason having some technical difficulties. So I see he's back, but I just wanted to acknowledge he disappeared and reappeared. Welcome back, Brian.
I'm like a podcasting ninja. I just kind of
you just kind of pop in and out. Yeah. Okay, we have actually a question of what scooter company do you recommend?
We used, who did we use? I'd have to look it up. I can't remember because I know who we used for the ship. We used Brevard Medical for the ship. I can't remember. I'd have to look up who we used for the day before the cruise.
Nice. Okay. So you had different scooter companies.
Yeah, we rented one for one day at the Grand Floridian. It was there when we got there. And then we had a different one that was delivered to the ship.
Gotcha. And the one for the ship, what was the name of that one?
Brevard Medical. I contacted Special Services just to see who they recommended, just, how Disney has their recommended providers for Walt Disney World Resort. So I was like, well, I should see if they have something like that for Disney Cruise Line. Sure enough, they did. And we contacted them to see what the processes and prices were, and we ended up going with them.
Nice. Okay, the pictures we're looking at, what are we looking at here? We're seeing.
So this is my first cruise with my sister. You can see we have our masks on there with Mickey, and we're social distanced.
That's what I figured from Mickey.
It's definitely, weird to see again, and to, and the ship was at 50% capacity at that time too. So I was very spoiled for my first cruise. There weren't really a lot of people around, and at that time, obviously, I was used to wearing a mask. So there was no.
Can I just call it? Karen has a killer pirate costume.
That
is a killer pirate costume.
Thank you. And then our first trip to Castaway there. So we did pretty much everything that day. So we went to the adult side and went to the tower and rode bikes. The last two times didn't do as much on the island besides sort of snorkel. But this is pictures from my cruise with my son, and when we dressed up as characters. He's Jamie Tart there.
Yeah.
And we actually ran into Ted Lasso. There was an awesome, another guest that was dressed up as Ted Lasso. And Jax went up to him and said hi, and he said something corny, like Ted Lasso would say. It was awesome. It was fantastic. It's a great
I
memory.
love that. You're
Yeah.
so cute. I
Yeah.
love it. And this is I love the pirate makeup in this picture on the left, Karen.
Yeah.
That's really fun. I love that you get
Yeah.
into it. Awesome. All right, Brian, move to the next. Oh, there we go. That's from that's with your son too.
Yeah.
Look at you guys with
the look again for those at home listening to this afterwards through the podcast channel. Like you really need to head over to
This
YouTube
is
to check
so
out the
cute.
photos here. But like this, is that a seal or
Sea
is that
I think it's a sea lion.
Sea lion? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
she's
the
smiling. It was one of those things I wasn't expecting to have to buy the pictures. I thought maybe we'd be able to take our own. And sure enough, we couldn't. And I was surprised. Every single picture came out fantastic. I think I bought all of them. Where they're kissing our cheeks, and
I would buy this picture for sure, right? Like if I had a picture of me and Nathan with the sea lion in between us making that face, I would totally be like, take my money.
Yeah, this is a memeable photo right here. I'm not sure what the meme
for sure.
It's great. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Okay, I know. Sorry, we skipped these. This is when we had the technical difficulties, and Karen was giving us her background. So this is at Polly, obviously the pot sticker.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. And is this at the new restaurant? The food on the right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's teriyaki chicken sliders, sweet potato fries, and macaroni salad.
Yeah.
So
this is what happens when you sell out of Port Canaveral. You got to do a pre or post. I'm really excited. We are staying actually ourselves in April at the Grand Floridian. I want to put this out there. I've never stayed at the Grand Floridian. I've always dreamed of staying at Grand Flo, and so like. The idea of, you could walk obviously to Polly or to Contemporary to get all of these other foods and whatnot, but I just can't wait. So we got to show the picture of Grand Floridian, Brian. That's the next picture, I think. Look at this beautiful accessible room.
Yeah, like I said, I was really happy. It's can be a little difficult for her to get out of tubs, so this was perfect. And I think the colors are beautiful. I like the color scheme. We did find it to be a little bright, and I couldn't figure out, maybe there was a way to make it a little bit less bright. It felt a little bit like I was in a surgery ward sometimes, but obviously the location can't be beat, and having access to the monorail and whatnot was great. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about transportation to the port, because I know I think that's our next slide here.
Yeah. So we ended up taking Disney transportation both ways. They were great. When we were waiting in the lobby, they saw that my mom needed some assistance, and they made sure she could sit in the front seat. And first getting on and first getting, last getting off sort of situation, so that they could help her. They were also really awesome. When we got to port, they got us a DCL wheelchair, just a manual wheelchair, and I pushed her on board, and that's where our scooter was. So, and both ways, on the way out to, we were able to take the scooter off and then use one of the DCL wheelchairs to get her back to the bus. So that was seamless. It was awesome.
Did that require any coordination with special services ahead of time, or did you just handle that right at the port and say, hey, we need a little bit of assistance?
I don't think I did that through specials. Well, I think I did note that she had a scooter through special services with the reservation, but as I was getting closer and maybe making adjustments to the reservation, like adding on the transportation, I did mention that she would need additional assistance getting on. And so that was noted.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Listen, these are, especially at a Port Canaveral, these are the kinds of things that are pretty seamless if you are able to note them ahead of time, and probably not that difficult to do even if you sort of forgotten to do it, because Port Canaveral is their well-oiled machine, as opposed to, some of the other ports that might not run quite as smoothly. So that, it's another advantage, of course, to sailing on either the Wish or the Treasure, or now the Fantasy, as they're all sailing out of Port Canaveral. Here we've got, is this the deck party?
Yeah. So this is the vantage point from the accessible seating area.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that was something nice. When they saw her, they, escorted her there, and we were right up on the side, but right against the stage. So we had a great vantage point. So again, I mean, like they're just so kind and attentive, and they see if you have mobility issues. Maybe they'll ask people by the elevators, like right after a show lets out or after a meal lets out, to like, hey, can we get them on the elevator first? Because it is very difficult because you can't really fit many people on there if you have a scooter. So I really appreciated all that attention and assistance.
Yeah. How did you feel about the Wish from an accessibility standpoint in general? We did an entire show, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna talk about accessibility the entire show, but you had, your mom being in a scooter, I think is it's helpful information for people
Mhm.
who are concerned about accessibility, particularly on the newer ships. I'm curious, the elevators do seem, kind of small
Real tight.
individually. They're tight, right? But what did you feel about, the hallways and elevators and other spaces in general?
I think it was great. I mean, like I said, like everyone was very kind. If there were any room attendants outside and they had their carts, they would make sure to move them to the side or move them around a corner. By the elevators, I mean, we didn't really run into any guests that were upset about her possibly getting on an elevator or having to wait for her. A lot of times I would sort of be the scout and sort of like wait to see the light, the light by the elevator bay. And I'd run over there to see if there's anyone in it and hold the door for her because they close really fast. I don't know if you noticed that, but I felt like they closed
Yes.
really fast.
Yes.
So I'd go in.
That's, I feel like, an issue if you just have, even if you're fast moving, but it's like a crowded,
Yeah.
area, right? So if there's like a big crowd and you're like waiting and you don't know what elevator is going to pop up,
Yeah.
um, you have to like hold the elevator for people. People don't realize like these doors will close and they will close like on your body. Like I had
Yes.
them, I mean, they do reopen if they hit your
Yes.
body, but like it's still, it's not the most gentle thing. Yeah.
No. So that was it, sort of in my mind sort of became a game to try to like, see if I can get to these elevators and, shout for her, not shout, but like, hey, this one's empty, like hurry, get in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, everyone knew what to do when they saw her at the restaurants, told her where to park her scooter. If she was nervous or that there was like a smaller space, they would take it and do it for her, just like they would do it at like a park or on the buses at the parks. So I give them 2 thumbs up. I thought it was great.
I just want to shout out while we're here. I was playing this comic. We've always found the crew members and guests very congenial in the hallways. This is from Accessible Adventures with Andrew, who we did an entire in-depth show with Andrew. And it's great. It's in our back catalog here on YouTube. If you want to know more about accessibility on the ships, it's a great show. So yes. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the highlights across the cruise. Obviously, like, because these help people understand, like, what are some great things about sailing on the Wish. Brian, can you move to the next slide, please, for us?
I can try.
Here, this is the room. So this is an amazing room. Let me just put that out there. Tell us what category this room is, because this is a fantastic room.
I'm not sure which category, but we were aft on deck 7196, and so we had like a wedge-shaped room. So our veranda was gigantic. We had 2 chase lounges and 2 chairs. And then you can see we had 2 doors to access the veranda as well. One that's a slider and one that is just like a regular door.
Oh, nice.
The regular door is the wheelchair accessible door.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a ramp that you can get out.
Right.
So.
Because the problem with the slider doors is they have that lip that the scooter or wheelchair can't really go over, or can't go over easily. Yeah. I know we've got a couple more pictures of your stateroom. This is beautiful. I know this is a Cinderella stateroom.
Yes.
So this is one of the themes. So this is, obviously every ship has different, the newer ships have different themes in the different rooms. You can't get a Cinderella room on the Treasure. I'm going to just put it out there. So
yes, if your whole cruise is going to be made by this backdrop to your bed, then you cannot sail the Disney Treasure.
I mean, if you want the blanket that says Wish on it, you can't. You can't get that blanket on the Treasure either. You get one that says the Treasure on it. Ed is saying, he thinks it's a category 5C. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate that. Yeah. Love this room. But yeah, and actually Vanessa is jumping in, saying we like that stateroom, but on the Treasure, it only had 1 TV.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well,
One
good.
thing we will say, we were sort of surprised at the lack of drawers. There's just the one above the mini fridge, and I don't know if that's
Yeah.
typical for the Wish, but we felt that there was a lack of drawers. We did have a lot of storage space, though. I think I had that maybe on the next slide, but I don't remember if that's next. It could be the bathroom.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know,
This is
basically that.
Yeah, this is a Wish treasure thing.
Okay.
And yeah, so there is some, and the treasure they've done a little bit better with the cabinet space. On the Wish, this is actually very good for the Wish, but that's because you had an accessible room, so you have more wall space, so they put more stuff on it. But in the Wish, we found not quite enough storage space.
Mhm.
It's fine because it's 3 and 4 night sailings, but if you
Yeah.
were longer sailings, but there is more cabinet and a hanging space than there is like any kind of drawer space. And part of that is because that drawer on the right hand side in that picture is the refrigerator
Yeah.
versus having a regular a little mini fridge.
They also, just from a space issue, and they fixed one of these things on the treasure, and they did not fix the other. The one thing they didn't fix is, if you see these shelves here, they are barely the width of a paperback novel. Like, and so,
Wow.
like they hold
they're not
very,
great.
very little, which is it's just weird.
Like
And then,
sunscreen is basically what you can put
yeah,
on there. Yeah.
yeah, very, very shallow. It's very awkward. And then these corner shelves were like, instead of being drawers, you were like, I remember the first time we were on the Wish, we were like putting underwear and stuff because we had no place else to
There's
put
no
it.
place else to
And so
put it.
they
Yeah.
did fix this on the treasure. I feel like they got rid of these shelves in favor of
It
something
depends on the
else.
room. Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends
it
on the
does depend on the
room.
room.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends on the
yeah,
room. So
yeah.
anyway, the storage I think is I mean this is great for storage, but I would say that's one area for drawback. But beautiful rooms. The furniture
Sorry.
looks pretty,
Yes.
right?
Sorry, I
Yeah.
And
have to
there's
put this
still
up.
another cabinet too.
Yeah. Oh, Tracy's saying it holds a bottle of wine, and Ashley's saying those shelves are for. Oh, Brian and I are doing this at the same time for many years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam, just keep your fingers away from the comments.
Sorry,
I will
we're both. The reason you've seen comments like come back and forth is because we're both
I'm
clicking on things.
revoking your privileges as a producer. All right,
Yeah,
there we go.
I
There we
love it.
go.
I love it.
All
All
right.
right, Brian, let's get to the next slide or set of slides. Here's the bathroom. Look at that bathroom. She's
Yeah, it was
pretty.
giant. And I loved that there was a good amount of space for us, to spread out in there. And again, the accessible shower was key for us. So I was really happy that we decided to book this room. It was beautiful. I can't fault it for sure. And these are just some of the nice pictures I took of the spaces when they were empty.
Yeah. Let's
think
talk about this is the Bayou and of course the
Yeah.
Grand Hall. What did you think of? I mean, obviously the Grand Hall is different. It's similar. The Grand Hall and the Wish and the Treasure are similar, meaning the layout is similar, but with different decor. But what did you think about this in comparison to the older ships? Because obviously it's a very
Yeah.
different concept, the Grand Hall versus the atrium. Not that they aren't like sort of the hub of the ship. They're all the hub of the ship, but this is very open. It's much bigger. It's got a stage, right? It's a very different purpose built, I think, than what you see on the older ships.
Yeah, I didn't spend too much time there because I didn't watch many of the shows, or I'm not a huge character interaction person. But I did think it was gorgeous. I thought it was beautiful. I thought that they used the space well, having all those activities there. So yeah, I enjoyed walking through it at different times of day to see how the chandelier looked and taking pictures of it when it was empty and free of people. But yeah, the carpet's gorgeous. I love that carpet.
Yeah, absolutely. What a beautiful space. And I think the chandelier is beautiful. I like the Kiss Goodnight. I've seen the one on the Treasure, but I like the one on the Wish better. I'll put that out there.
You know what? But just seeing these photos of the Wish does remind me like how like different the two Grand Halls are, and like
so different.
They're so different, and this is just so stark and so it's just stark and white and like
But it's like very. But it's beautiful.
It's it's very
enchantment, right?
Enchanted. Yeah, very
elegant.
Yeah.
Like a castle royal, it gives you that princess feel for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same with the Bayou, right? The Bayou, this is this beautiful like lily pad. I would call it lily pad themed, right? But the Bayou is the Bayou themed, Tiana themed. But like this banquette, this seating area is so pretty, but very different than what we see on the Treasure, whereas the Super Society.
You know what I've noticed? They added the iPads. which they did not have on the Wish originally. That came out with the Treasure for the drink menus. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they had these on the Wish when we sailed.
Yeah, I wonder. I think they're. Yeah, I think they must be fleet wide now too.
Part of their paperless effort. Maybe they could issue an iPad in every room to give people the paper navigator they so desperately.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, here, look at this beautiful picture. This is you, Karen, and this is me.
Yeah, I was having fun with my camera.
Yeah, I love this though.
A little Titanic-y.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody went overboard.
No, I did not.
I love it.
Yeah, and that was our view. So I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was really nice to just see, the ocean, the wake behind us. So
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that was a pre-Apollo photo shoot.
Pre-Apollo photo shoot. Well, let's get to that because I know you went to Paul. Oh, no, this is in main dining. So let's see.
Yeah.
Let's talk main dining first. Obviously you've got 3 rotational dining restaurants, all new from when I say new from the standpoint of the original 4 ships did not have Arendelle, did not have 1923, did not have Worlds of Marvel. What did you and your mom think of these new dining options?
We thought the food was solid. This was actually my first time sitting with other people.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I had requested a private table and walked into World of Marvel, and lo and behold, there were 4 other people at my table. I'm like, oh. I had to adjust my expectations and my attitude, but it ended up being fine. I will say, I know recently you guys discussed how loud the dining rooms are, and I will say yes, I felt like I was in a bar and I was yelling most of the time, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I didn't really remember that from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the first time I was on, it was 50% capacity, but I don't remember that the second time. So I'm not sure why that is. But
I think part of it is like the addition of, it's like 2 restaurants with shows and 1 without, as opposed to 2 without and 1.
Yeah,
I think that well, I guess, but on the older ships you do get Tiana's and Rapunzel's now, but I feel like that drives some of it. What's interesting is it was much less loud, I feel like, on the Treasure. So like they got the memo, I feel like, and turned the volume down a bit in the 2 show aspect dining rooms on the Treasure, but I don't know. They could just unlock the little box and turn the volume down a couple notches on the Wish. But yeah.
Well, and I think that the Arendelle is the loudest, I think, and then with Marvel being not too far behind, obviously, and then of course I think the layout, unfortunately, of 1923 just makes the volume of voices a little bit louder, even though I don't think it's not a loud restaurant, but I think just it's the way it's set up with all those walls, like the sound is kind of bouncing within a little bit more than maybe in the other dining rooms, on the others. But I think Brian, you're right that it's the show aspect is unfortunately the thing that makes it the loudest, particularly in Arendelle. It is just because the show is throughout all of dinner and even Marvel on the Wish, which is the night 1 Marvel on the Treasure. It is also very interrupting of dinner, and so it makes when people want to continue talking, they talk over the show.
Karen, what did you think? What did you and your mom think of the shows, like in Arendelle and Marvel?
I didn't really get to enjoy them very much. I feel like between being seated at the table with other people who wanted to engage, and also like the brightness of the lights at Arendelle, like they were right in my eyes, so I couldn't really look at them very much. I enjoyed the singing and the music, but I couldn't really enjoy it visually. And as far as World of Marvel, again, I think that there was just a little bit more distraction and I didn't really get what was going on. So I sort of want to go back and do it again and just really sort of take my time to enjoy it and hopefully be seated by ourselves.
Yeah. I've heard of that more and more lately where people have asked to be seated. I feel like you used to hear if people asked to be seated alone that it would almost all the time get honored, right? Unless there was a mistake that was made. But it seems more and more that request is not necessarily. And actually I was reading in the concierge Facebook group that Karen Shelton runs that sort of inconsistent reports, even if you're sailing concierge, as to whether or not you'll get a private table. So it seems, I mean, I think the message I like to tell people is, if you want a private table, ask for it, put the request in. There's no guarantees that it will happen, but if you don't ask for it, you won't get it. And then occasionally, if you didn't get it when you know, at the time, you can always try on board or go and try and verify that you got a private table if you put in a request, because sometimes they can make that kind of magic happen on board, even if that request didn't go through from shoreside for whatever reason. And sometimes I think things are just lost in translation, but also there's times where you have a real, like, specific reason for wanting a private table, and it's not just you want a quieter meal, but more like one of your family members who's sailing with you is has a disability where interacting with new people is not, you know, comfortable for them, and so if you express those kinds of things, you're more likely to get those requests honored.
Can I just call out Karen's description of "I didn't really get it" or "I didn't really follow it"? That's probably the title of the show in Worlds of Marvel for many people who see it. So anyway,
Yeah, I like it, but you have to really watch it, though. Yeah, it is one of those shows, like the Marvel show.
It's one of the most over contrived Marvel
It
shows
is. It's
you'll
so
ever see.
silly.
It's cute and it has its cute moments. I don't want to denigrate it, but
yeah,
but
it's
yeah.
cute. It has its funny moments, but you do, unfortunately, with that Marvel show, you really have to pay attention to it, and it's not easy to, because of how much is going on. Yeah,
This is funny. Beth is saying, we wanted a table with people, but they set us alone.
See? Here you go. Right? Yeah, it's so weird. So weird. And then Linda's saying on the Wonder last year, they set two couples together at a table and they didn't even look at each other. They had private tables. See, that's always like awkward. I'm like, if you know, I'm of the mindset of like, okay, if I wanted a private table and I didn't get one, like I'm just gonna make the best of it, right?
The most awkward moment we had was when we did the 11 Night Southern Caribbean, and we were supposed to have our own table, and they set us with this family.
That's true.
And
they
then
were super nice, but we ended up moving.
But our travel companion on that cruise was like, no, I want a private table. So we sat with his family for one night, and then the next night we were sitting by ourselves. And we were told by the host that, like, oh, that family really enjoyed you. They really were hoping. It was like, oh, this is going to get really awkward. This is gonna get really awkward.
They were so nice, but yeah, we just did want a private table, but it's just, you know.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right, let's keep going. Oh, more food.
Yeah, more food. Okay, here we are at Paulo. So this is Paulo Steakhouse, and this is obviously brunch, because I can tell that's the antipasti and the almond croissants, but both of which they don't have at dinner. But yeah, tell us now, had you been to Paulo before on the other ships?
Yes, I'd been to Paulo with my sister when we sailed together. So I'd done dinner there before. This is my first time at brunch, so I was really excited about it. And we had an awesome server who actually recommended that we skip the breakfast foods, because he's like, eggs are eggs, you know, pancakes are pancakes, try our other things, you know. So that's what we ended up doing and taking his recommendations. And I love almond anything, so when he put those down, I was super excited. They were delicious, still warm. So
his advice is wise beyond his years.
On point. Linda's saying best almond croissant ever. And and she's also saying that they just ask for cheese now, no meat or olives, which you can do, by the way. You can actually customize your antipasti, but I don't eat the olives, but I like the meat and the cheese.
I'm just gonna have them bring me as much Parmesan cheese as I can get next time.
Yeah, but CT is saying always trust your Paulo server, and that is the right answer. I will say I always skip the breakfast food because I'm with the server. Eggs are eggs. Like, I mean, I like a good egg, but I don't need eggs or waffles. That big Mickey waffle, I will say, looks pretty darn good. But Brian really likes the what is it, the eggs Florentine, right? Brian, you like it's those Benedict type things, but it has like smoked salmon or something in it. I forget.
Might have Mornay sauce on it instead of Bernaise.
I don't know. I'm not a Benedict person. Don't hate at me, people. I don't like the sauce. It's just, and I don't like my eggs poached. So yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah. So yeah, not for me. But like I said, that Mickey waffle is the one thing that looked good. Brian, go to the next slide.
Yes, but before we do, Beth, I gotta disagree with you here. Not that one. This comment, the apple cinnamon waffle is so good. Sorry, Linda, I gotta disagree with you here. I hate when they add the apple. I hate when they added the apple to the what do you call it? The sticky
The
bun.
sticky bun,
Oh,
yeah.
it just ruined
Yeah.
it. It ruined it. Anyway.
And then here's the pizza.
Oh.
I know we're gonna see the chicken parm on the next slide, Brian. Let's
No, I just want to stare just for longingly for one more
I
second
know
at
at
the
the
grape and gorgonzola
gorgonzola
pizza. It's like a Homer over here.
I know.
So good.
So good.
Oh,
Oh, and there's the chicken parm and the
killing
lasagna.
me.
I forgot that
Yep.
the lasagna was
Killing
on
me.
this
Oh.
slide. I
We
love
left
at that-
very full and
at
with
that-
leftovers.
Look at that bechamel sauce just lovingly draped on top of that lasagna. Oh, so good.
so good. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's funny. Karen Shelton is saying that because she and I are usually on the same food page, so she's shocked I don't like a Benedict. Yeah, I'm not a Benedict person. Never
Karen,
been.
you're entering the dark world of Sam's strange food aversions.
Listen,
we can talk more later.
I love me an egg McMuffin. I'm just gonna put that out there. But I like the egg is cooked through, right? I don't like the weird sauce on it. So yeah.
All right. Oh, you're absolutely
killing you here.
killing me.
You're killing Brian now.
Oh, the carrot cake. Oh,
So this is dinner, obviously.
Yes.
This is the what do they
that's
call
the
it?
burrata and tomato.
The burrata. That's it. I was trying
Yeah.
to think. I was saying mozzarella, but that's the burrata, and then that's the yummy
Caesar salad.
Caesar salad.
Yeah.
And
then
then
carrot
Brian's favorite is that carrot
Oh,
cake.
so
I'm all
good.
about that burrata. That burrata is fantastic.
Yeah, the carrot cake was, I think, the best carrot cake we'd ever had. Just the
Yeah.
ratio of cake to, the cream cheese and everything was amazing. So
Yeah,
it is-
that's Brian's favorite dessert.
And I love
there.
that they just add like a gently, sliced piece of actual carrot to the
Yeah.
like there's,
So you
there's
don't
like
forget where
there's a
it came
healthy
from.
element here,
So
yeah.
there's a vegetable on the plate.
trying to remind you, it's okay. There's actual vegetables in here.
Right.
This
You're
is like
basically
vegetables.
eating
You're just-
salad.
cake.
Exactly.
It's
I
actual
love
cake.
it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Oh, these are great pictures. For those of you listening after, these are great photos of food. I'm
you.
like, I can almost taste it.
I can, yeah. Oh, look at
On
that
the view.
view.
Yeah, that was our view.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
oh.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
That
had the
was
same
great.
server for brunch and for dinner, so that was wonderful too. He was great.
Love that. Which night did you miss for
Pirate night.
Pirate Night? Okay, yeah.
On
So you had
purpose.
because you were on 4 nights, and so that's like it's perfect. That way you didn't miss any of the 3 normal rotations. You just
Mhm.
miss your Pirate Night and your whichever second night you're at another restaurant, which is
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we always tell people. Like we tell folks, if you're on a 3 night, maybe don't do adult dining. Particularly if it's if it's your first time on a ship, don't do adult dining on a 3 night sailing because you want to go to all the different rotational dining and try the different menus, and you don't want to miss the shows, right? But if you are on, one that has Pirate Night and you're okay with missing out on Pirate Night, that's when to do the adult dining, or of course on a longer sailing, or if you've been on the ships multiple times. Yeah.
I gotta say, there's a little chat back and forth here about no souffle at Palo dinner, and I gotta say that carrot cake is like worth it.
Brian
It's
is a
worth it.
carrot. Brian will he will choose that carrot cake over the souffle any day, and I choose the amaretto souffle over the chocolate souffle, and I have no qualms about.
I don't think they have that carrot cake in the Palo and the other. I think it's specific to the Palo Steakhouse menu that they have the carrot cake. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
Could be wrong,
Brian.
but yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Luna, what'd you think of Luna? What'd you think of Luna, Karen?
I know some people don't like that it's open to the walkways around there. It didn't bother me at all. I sort of liked that I could hear terrible singing from the
from Crown and
karaoke.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was sort of fun. It could get you to maybe bring you in if you didn't know what was going on. I like it especially because I won some bingo money there too, so that was super exciting. I thought it was a great space.
Yeah. Well, and it's not my favorite entertainment space, but Sarabi on the Treasure is the same as Luna. So it's not like we've got a difference really between those 2 ships. And I think a major difference is you don't have a D lounge right on the Wish or the Treasure. And so Luna or Sarabi becomes like sort of multi-purpose. It becomes a family space for, a lot of stuff during the day, but an adult space for a lot of the stuff at night. And so it's different than the other ships in that regard. But you also have the atrium space, the grand hall space as another sort of stage space, which I think is, they do the who's behind the curtain and a couple of other things like in the grand hall that you would normally have in another ship in like a D lounge kind of a space or an Azure or something like that. So like I understand why they sort of went with this concept, and it works better on the Wish and the Treasure than it would have worked on a Dream or Fantasy or
I think what sold me on it was the Indiana Jones thing and Sarabi on the Treasure. Like
yeah.
that was a really well done show production. And so I just don't recall something like that on the Wish that really made me think, oh, this is a really great use of the stage, with one exception, which is the finale of the
Oh,
Uncharted Adventure. Like
Uncharted Adventure. Yeah.
makes great use of this stage and the technology. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We haven't talked about, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, the other one piece of news, because Uncharted Adventure is on the Wish and it's been working as far as we hear with obviously, glitches at times, but it had not been debuted on the Treasure. We heard it was on the preview sailings, and I believe Karen Shelton actually tried it. I remember her logging onto it when I was next to her, and it appeared to be working on the preview, and then on Maiden it wasn't operable, like it was completely down. So there was an email that went out to folks promoting the Uncharted Adventure on the Treasure. So either it's up and running or soon to be up and running. So I haven't heard confirmation from anyone on board, but if you're listening to this and you hear that it's and you're on board and it is up and running, please let us know. I just would love confirmation on that. All right, but yeah, so Luna, I think that's great to hear that you enjoyed the space. Brian, what have we got next in the slides?
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
It was the very first game, and they had only called 5 numbers, so it was very exciting.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I had to share with somebody else too. So
wait, you won after 5 numbers were called?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. Yeah. So it would have been close to $400 if the other person hadn't won. That would have been nice. But
wow, I can't believe 2 people won with only 5 numbers. That's
I know.
crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and this is in that Triton's Lounge, which is like right next to the spa. And this is the same.
No, the bingo is in Luna. You can tell by the size of the screen.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I'm looking at the picture. I'm thinking they're both.
Yeah,
I was like, that seems very empty for bingo. I was literally just about to say that seems very. No, that's More Trivia. I bet it is, right?
Yeah, we're on the balcony there, so that's why it looks. Yeah, so we're up on the balcony. But yeah, we did a ton of trivia. I loved it. I actually heard that. I don't know if you've done that before, but that was really fun. They were doing boy bands, and I was like, oh God, I don't really know boy bands very well. But the one that they had for me to guess was Hanson, and the person across from me is probably like half my age. They had no idea who they were.
They never knew. Bop, bop, bop,
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Right, of course, because that's the only song that anyone knows from Hanson.
Yeah. And then the Seinfeld theme song too. But again, I don't think they would know that. So I was able to nail that.
Nice.
It's like don't. Yeah.
Right? No, that is not it at all. But like, nice try, Sam.
It is. And here is the beautiful gym. Did you spend any time in the gym?
I did. I
did. The treadmill there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did bring some of my workout routines to my gym, and did some. I think I was there. I was at the Floridian one day, and then I did, I think, 3 days at the gym on the Wish. I do have a side story here. The second morning, our first morning when I was on the bike, I actually looked out this porthole, and there was somebody in the middle of the ocean on a paddleboard by himself. So God. Yeah, it was a very interesting day. So there was a person that was 25 miles, had probably paddled 25 miles from wherever he was coming from. We sent a boat out to check on him. He refused assistance or to come on board. And then the Coast Guard came to get him. And he was paddling away from the Coast Guard as well. So it was a very dramatic day at sea. And so I don't know. That doesn't happen very often, I'm sure, but it was a very unique and dramatic experience to see someone, and just like I said, literally a paddleboard.
Yeah, I mean, you can't survive paddleborne 25 miles away from shore, right? Like there's just like you're going to tire out and you're not going to survive. Like that's
Yeah.
just how it's
Yeah.
going to be. And you're out in the Caribbean or Bahamian sun too.
Exactly. That's what I was like, wow,
Wow.
he's out here with no like
No
shade, and
survival
I'm
supplies, nothing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
that was definitely a unique experience that I'll always remember from this cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I imagine did they send out one of like the little lifeboats or whatever to
I think
him?
so. I didn't
Yeah.
see that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually at Palo Brunch watching the Coast Guard interaction, which I felt a little weird, strange about.
Yeah.
Eating very fancy lunch while this guy was having probably a very bad day.
Yeah.
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 Well, we've got pictures here of Castaway Cay, of course.
Mhm.
Now you had been to Castaway Cay before. Any big changes since the last time, and what did you all get up to on Castaway?
We didn't really get too far onto the island, actually. With the mobility issues, we just sort of plunked ourselves down at the first beach, and I went snorkeling. That's something I do every time I'm there, and I just tried to explore parts of the snorkeling area that I hadn't seen before. And just as I was about to, get out and be done for the day, I saw a stingray, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to, someone on the beach and say like, hey, where can I see some more aquatic life? And they said, as far out as you can go, that's probably the best place. So that's what I did. I swam back all the way to the back and saw a lot more fish. So, but that stingray scared me. I
Yeah.
was not expecting it. It was right underneath me. I was like, oh gosh.
Oh,
But
wow. Yeah, it's
yeah.
you know what, that's I always tell people, like, the snorkeling at Castaway is more about the stuff they have sunken in
Yeah.
than it is about the fish for the wildlife. You don't really see a lot of it. You'll see, like, a few fish here and there, but, like, a lot
Mhm.
of those really tiny minnows. So
Yeah.
that's good to know that if you go further out in the, snorkeling area that you can see, some
Yeah.
more stuff.
Hey,
Oh,
Linda.
yeah, Linda's got this,
Sam would never snorkel again.
yeah, she has a Castaway Cay memory, which is not that long ago, where with the shark swimming by them at
Yeah.
Serenity Beach, and Brian is right, but I
And
don't go.
Nathan would never go within 5 miles of a beach again.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I don't go. I only like when I go in the ocean, like I don't go past where I can stand. Like I'm actually a decent swimmer, but I just don't feel comfortable and I don't want to touch sea life. Like I like to look at sea life from a distance. I like snorkeling because I like to look at fish but more sea turtles, but I want to look at them from a healthy distance. Like I don't want them any closer than like 15 feet. Like I don't want them touching me. I'm the weirdo that doesn't.
I'll just have you wear a snorkel mask to the aquarium. That's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
would love that. That's perfect. I'll just put my face in. I don't even need to get in the pool with them.
You like the Alani pool, don't you?
I don't love the Alani pool, the Alani snorkeling little like lagoon because
Yeah.
you're basically in the fish tank, so they're all around you. They're too close. I don't want to because I don't want them to touch me. I don't want them to touch my fish. I don't know. It's a
There we
weird
go.
thing.
There we go.
All right.
So
Well,
so how was the day at Castaway? Did you enjoy it? And what did your mom think?
She, liked being outside in the sun. She basically just napped while I did everything, and I brought her food to her from Cookies. So we enjoyed a lunch at our Chase lounges there and just headed back. But yeah, it was a pretty low key day besides the snorkeling and just a little shopping, and that was about it. So
Nice.
love
Nice.
that.
All right, we are back at the beginning of the slideshow, which means I think it's time to kind of talk about the ultimate question here, which is, we put this out as, is the Wish still worth it? And I think part of that is the treasure is now out. Sister Class in the Ship to rave reviews, and I think even we are guilty on this show of sort of starkly contrasting the treasure and the Wish. Maybe let me ask this, Karen, who's the Wish for? Like, who would you recommend go take a trip on the Wish, as opposed to, Destiny's coming out soon. She'll be doing the 4. Is it just 4?
Yeah,
4
4 and 5.
4 5.
4.
Yeah.
It's 4 5 5.
And
Yeah.
Fantasy's is doing 4 5 rotations.
Yeah, correct.
So, and the Dream is doing 3 nights, right? 3 4 rotations now.
No, they're also doing 4 and 5 nights. Occasionally with like a different stuff mixed in, but yeah,
Right.
they're also doing, and Fantasy will obviously be doing Europe, and so
the Wish
kind of
is
a mix.
The Wish is she stands alone here. She's the only one doing
She's
3
the
4
only one
night sailings. Yeah,
consistently doing 3 4 nights. The other ships occasionally you'll see a 3-night sailing every, other than the Adventure. Obviously, Adventure is going to be doing 3 and 4 nights in Asia. But yeah, the Wish is the one that's, if you want to do a 3-night sailing, reliably the Wish is the most availability. But yeah, so yeah, who do you think the Wish really caters to, and what kind of client would you recommend? I think to go on the Wish is really a great way to put it.
Yeah, for sure. I think someone who maybe has never cruised before and is looking for something shorter, just maybe if they're worried about getting sick or whatnot, or whether or not they're going to like it. Definitely, if you have a child that loves princesses, I think this is definitely a big seller for them. You know, the rooms, the grand hall, all those aspects I think would be wonderful if you have a child that really loves princesses. Obviously, if you don't have that much time to spare, you have to go this route. But I think also land and sea people that are doing Walt Disney World
Yeah, that's a
Resort, I think it's a
great
good combo.
Yeah.
You know, you can easily do, 3-4 days at the parks and then head out and do your 3 or 4 days on the ship. So
Yeah, you're right. There are like for us when we go, we'll do a 7-night cruise. We're like happy to spend like 1 day in a park, right? We're like that's enough. Like Disney World for us is 1 day in like Epcot. Like that is typically what it is. If that, maybe a half day in Epcot, right?
One ride on Guardians
Right,
and a margarita from Mexico, and
right.
I'm
Really,
good.
let's be honest, 2 rides on Guardians,
Oh, yeah.
at least 1 ride on Remy, maybe a ride on Frozen. Nathan will do Mission Space. So we won't do that because we'll vomit. But like, and a couple margaritas from Mexico, and maybe eat around the world if it's like food and wine or some other festival, right? So yeah, but like that's a good point. There are a lot of people who are Disney Parks people who like still like to cruise, but parks is their first love, and they want that 4 days at the parks, and so the 3 days at the on the cruise is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
And Karen is saying, dare she say, you can combine Universal too with Epic Universe coming along. Well, that's a great segue, Karen Shelton. Brian, why don't you tell people what's coming next week?
Well, hold on, wait. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to shortcut this discussion.
Okay. All right. We'll
Yeah.
loop back to that.
So I just we've been on the Treasure and the Wish, Sam. So like I think Karen's spot on in terms of like who the Wish is.
Oh yeah.
For actually someone commented on our social media today about like who can do a 7-night cruise every time. I was like, well, I mean, I think it's different for people who are flying in from out of Florida. True. And then you got to consider, to Karen's point, like, is the destination the theme park? Or is the destination the cruise, right? And if the destination is the theme park and you want to try out a cruise, I think that's great. I think there's one other sort of situation I wanted to kind of run by you, Karen, which is like, I think that the Wish can be an entry into DCL at a lower total price point than some of the other cruises that are out there on a newer ship with some of the newer experiences and food and that kind of stuff. It used to be the case that you paid a per night premium for the shorter cruises. Like if you took a 7-night sailing and divided it across the total cost, it'd be, slightly less per night to sail the 7 nights than the 3. I don't think that's actually holding true anymore with Disney's pricing on the Treasure. But I haven't like done the full side-by-side comparison. But would you agree? Like if you're just like, I don't know if Disney cruising is for me, or my family really wants to experience a Disney cruise, but I can't pay the price tag on the Treasure, I think the Wish is a good compromise. I mean, it's a good way to get on there.
Absolutely. I'd forgotten that point. I meant to bring that up too. I think it is a good entry point, and it's one of the newer ships, which, the other ships are fantastic, but everybody thinks newer is better. So I think, I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah. Say, what would get you back on the Wish? That's my question that I want to ask you. Like, what would get you now that the Treasure's out there, the Destiny is coming? Like, what's going to get you back on the Wish?
I don't know, because I'm actually booked for the Destiny next year.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, for me, I would go back on the Wish if we can do like a 10-night Southern Caribbean, right? Like if like the Wish gets a different itinerary. I guess the other point is if it like fit in with something else, like some kind, like a side to side, right? Like if I was going to do like a 4-night on the Fantasy or a 5-night on the Fantasy, and I had enough time to fit in another cruise, but wanted to do something, different ship. Like to me, doing a side by side, I'm not sure I would do another back to back on the Wish. Like we did it twice or 3 times. I can't remember now. That's actually how we juiced up our Castaway status. It wasn't necessarily intentionally. It just kind of worked out that way.
It's intentional for me, but yeah.
Well, not for me. But for me, it was just kind of like, we wanted to get on the new ship, and we have a week, we're going to be there. So, okay, we do that. But like, I'm not sure I would do the back to back again, because you lose so much of the embarkation disembarkation day. But I do feel like if I wanted to hit 2 different ships and I had a week, maybe I would do it that way. But I think more likely for me, it would be like, I'm going to Florida for something else and I only have, 3 nights, or I only have 4 nights. Okay, I would get on the Wish, but I don't know that I would travel from Seattle to Florida again for just that, 4-night cruise, 3-night cruise.
I'll be controversial and just simply say the only thing that's going to get me back on a Wish is a dry dock. So,
Oh, Brian,
I
she's
need
so beautiful. Listen, she's got. I have to put out there. I actually love Arendelle. It is a very loud restaurant, but I actually really love the show. I also like the that scallop appetizer that was shown in the picture with your mother. I also really like the meatball. That's kind of like a Swedish meatball, but it's obviously Norway dish as a main in Arendelle. So there are some things I do really. There's also a really good s'mores dessert that's on the kids menu. Shout out to Tracy for finding this and ordering it, and then I ordered it and it's delicious. This is in Arendelle as well. So like there are some really things that I like about the Wish that are kind of unique. And I really like Nightingale. I think it's a beautiful piano bar and sort of cocktail bar. But yeah, I think it would have to be the right itinerary, unless I was going to be in, like I said, unless I was going to Florida for something else and had the time, and so it just kind of fit. It would really need to be like a longer itinerary for me to get back on the Wish, as opposed to going on the Treasure, right? Or the Destiny.
Here's the real test. As much as you say you liked Arendelle, if I told you that they were going to replace Coco on the Treasure with Arendelle, I think you would probably burn that ship to the ground.
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I think both are wonderful. Like I really do. I think Coco is better in some ways, yes, but I like both of them. Like I think I do like I like the food. I actually really like the food menu 2 in Coco. I didn't love the food menu 1 in Coco. So like, there's pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
And I love Oaken. So I think Oaken is the best character out of Frozen. So
yeah. I would say the 11 Nights Southern Caribbean, if the Wish was doing it, would get me back on, except that I would be so annoyed at the storage situation in the cabins for a cruise of that length.
Yeah, that's true. The storage would be an issue. But yeah, I think that that's what would get me back on the Wish. I'm with you though, Karen and Brian. I'm with you. I think the Wish is like a perfect starter ship for folks new to Disney Cruise Line. It's perfect for families who have kids who are really into princesses, or adults who are really into princesses. Like it is the perfect princess ship. It's a great wedding ship, I think, too, because it's so elegant and beautiful. So I think it's a perfect wedding ship if most people don't want to do a 7-night cruise for a wedding because they can't get all their family to come on for that long, right? Whereas 3-night is easier. It's a great land and sea ship. So all of those things that we talked about, I think that's exactly right.
Wes, I want to throw up your comment about someone's very skeptical about the Wish and still have criticisms after sailing, or I still wouldn't completely avoid. I totally agree. And like I think we had a discussion. It was either on this show or one of the myriad of other shows we've been guesting on lately, where it's just I really think that the Wish class has redeemed itself.
Yes.
I think the Wish really had a hill to climb. I think the Treasure has pulled the whole class up, that hill. But I think now you can kind of look back and see the merit of these ships a little bit. They still have their challenges, but I frankly don't know any ship out there that's like just perfect
in every way, practically perfect in every way.
Yeah. So
like Mary Poppins.
All right. So now, Sam, you wanted me to tie Karen's comment about Epic Universe, Karen Shelton's comment about Epic Universe to our future shows, which I can do. I can make that happen because for everyone out there, we always love to end the show by reminding you first, like and subscribe to the podcast and to our YouTube channel. But we have more live shows coming. No break for us this time. So next week at our regular time, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will have the incomparable Seth Kaburski coming on the show to talk to us all about the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, and I'm sure that conversation, he is going to have a lot to say about Epic Universe, and I can't wait to take notes because we may have an opportunity to go see Epic Universe for a day in one of our upcoming cruises. So
Again, that's what we do. We do one theme park day, maybe
Yeah.
2 theme park days, and
Yeah.
then we get on a ship because
Yeah.
that's what
But
we
when
do.
we do it, it's like mic drop visit. It's like VIP tour, show me everything,
Show me
and I'm out of
everything,
here.
and
I'm
then
out
I'm
of here.
out. I'm in
All right.
and out. Yeah.
All right. And then
But-
but I do want to highlight for folks some other upcoming shows that we have that are going to be pretty special. So we've got Seth coming on March 10th, which is next Monday. Week later, Sam is going to be on with Christine Wilson talking more about The Wish, I think it is.
Yeah,
Or
she's-
adults only on The Wish?
Yes, adults only on the Wish, and get this special teaser, port upgrade to concierge.
Ooh, amazing. I will be not on that show because I will be at a conference, a week-long work conference, but Sam is going to have a fantastic show for you.
He will be drinking margaritas on a beach.
I will
in Puerto
not
Vallarta.
be drinking margaritas on a beach in Puerto Vallarta. I will be sitting in a windowless conference room at a
in
resort
Puerto
hotel.
Vallarta. Yeah.
And then the show after that, I'm also really excited about because I think we're having
Yes.
Emily back.
Yes, Emily Carlson from We Do Travel, right? She just got off the Treasure like a week ago, and so she's going to come back. And she hadn't been on the Treasure since the preview cruise that she and I were on at the same time. So
and special alert, that is the kickoff for season 6 of the DCL Duo podcast. If
oh
you
my
can believe
goodness!
It. So that starts season 6, and then the last show of this month. I am excited for this one because we haven't talked to her in a while. We will have Rebecca, now ABD guide Rebecca,
formerly Entertainment Cast on DCL.
Yeah,
Rebecca.
We loved having Rebecca on, and we can't wait to hear about her journey as an Adventures by Disney guide. And so she is going to be on at the end of this month, and really excited to have her. So we got a full slate of shows for March. We got even more coming in April with rescheduling Danny coming on and some great show ideas. So please stay tuned. Mark your calendars. Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Sam.
Yes, we have to. We got to tell people though how they can contact Karen Luster if they want. Yeah, if they want to book their next Disney vacation, their next cruise, any other kind of vacation that Karen books as well at My Path Unwind. And Karen, tell folks how they can find you and contact you.
So I'm both on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, my handle is My Path Unwinding Travel Karen, and then on Facebook, it's My Path Unwinding Travel Karen Luster. You can also email me at kluster@mypathunwinding.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. We so appreciate having you on. We hope you'll join us again, maybe after your next DCL cruise.
That'd be great. Thank you.